My boss is rude to my husband. My boss is rude to my husband. Originally posted to ask a manager. Trigger warning, sexual harassment. Original post July 6, 2022. I work as a bookseller, and about a year ago our bookshop got a new manager. This was a great thing for the shop and for me personally. He's much more competent than anyone we've had in the past and has a real drive for developing people. I happen to be the person he's focused on developing, and it's been wonderful. I get paid more now, have lots more responsibility, and am being provided with all the training to start managing my own shop before Christmas. I'm being treated as a rising star in the business. We're part of a very big chain and given a lot of opportunities to excel, which of course feels fantastic. I'm very grateful. There's only one snag, though. My boss is very keen to socialize with me outside of work, both one-on-one and as part of the management team. The culture in our shop has always been that partners, spouses, housemates, friends, etc. are very welcome at these events. However, my manager seems to absolutely despise my husband. I can't find any reason for this. Obviously, I love him, so you could argue that I'm biased, but really, everybody adores my partner. He's gentle, fun, and a good listener and always proves a popular addition. Honestly, half of my colleagues probably prefer him to me. He's only spoken to my boss a couple of times and only briefly, but my boss is openly dismissive of him. He makes disparaging remarks about him, stops engaging in conversations when I bring him up. And recently, when my husband arrived to some drinks, my boss visibly and obviously swung his entire body around in his seat so that he was facing away from us and left not long after. I have no idea what to do. I have a fantastic working relationship with my boss, and frankly, I plan to capitalize on that, but this makes me really uncomfortable. For further context, I'm a woman and he's a man, and he is single. However, he has often told me that his preference is for very done-up, alternative but feminine women, which does not describe me. I'm a straggly-haired, no-makeup, shapeless clothing wearer. At first, I tried to dismiss his disparaging comments as an awkward attempt at humor, but after he so rudely turned away from my partner at the drinks, I'm angry. I don't know how to bring this up with him or if I should. Help. Relevant comments. How old is everyone? And maybe the boss is inept at social gatherings. I can help with that. I'm 30, my boss is 38. And honestly, his social skills are kind of all over the place. He generally has quite a good initial read on people, but it's downhill from there. And realistically, anyone with a decent sense of other people's boundaries would know that I'm not going to be impressed by disparaging comments about my husband. I'm not one of those people whose sense of humor is to rag on the old man. I love my husband deeply, and I'm grateful for him every day. I even got people teasingly calling me my ye husband for a while because I accidentally got too moony talking about him. He's great. OOP's theory. I know it will seem the lady doth protest too much, but I would add that he's a newcomer to our big city and lives alone. So I have wondered if he's trying to manufacture a group of new friends. OOP, when told to be wary of the promotion actually happening or excuses why the store can't lose OOP. Happily, this has all been quite formally documented in our annual review process and is something that is in discussions with our lovely HR person at present, so I'm very much hoping that's not something I need to worry about. If things do start falling through, I at least have enough witnessed-on paper to advocate for myself. Update 1 Deck 12, 2022, 5 months later. The situation remains an odd one. Whilst I wussed out of taking your advice when it came to actually talking to my manager about it, I thought there was enough plausible deniability that it might make me look like a bit of a nutter. I did start shutting down the comments when they cropped up, and being rather icier than I normally would be. As women, we're so socialized to be warm and accommodating that I think this took him aback a bit, and the snide comments stopped pretty much dead. I've also set a firm boundary on socializing with him in anything but the largest, most work-centric outings. He got a bit snippy when I didn't come to his birthday, but, sorry, I was out with my husband. Some friends of ours recently had a baby, so we had a very fun evening playing house with said baby, whilst the new parents got to have a rare night out together. I even showed my boss some adorable pictures of my husband cuddling said baby. I know it's petty. However, the sheer wealth of commenters speculating that my boss has a crush on me has me thinking they're probably right, and if they are right, then the way he's going about things is uncomfortable, creepy, and unethical. As we move into the much busier period in our shop, he started scheduling just the two of us to work late in the shop to catch up. Normally, this is a job that a team of at least 3 people would do, presumably to avoid, well, situations like this. To add to the issue, as my commenters predicted, I didn't end up getting my own store. Imagine I needed a 90% on my performance review to get promoted into it. They gave me a 89.999 boss and the HR rep, who always sits in on these reviews, as a representative of the regional manager, said in recognition of how hard I work and how many additional duties I take on, they'd enter me for a specific excellence award, which comes with a cash bonus. They've since come back to me and said, unfortunately, it turns out that's not what the award is for. I then set a meeting to discuss pay and advance the points that A, I'm taking on much more work than I was at this point last year, and B, getting paid effectively less for it, due to rampant inflation. The answer was that a raise was not possible, and the plan going forward would be to schedule another performance review after Christmas and discuss it then. Following this, I attended the Christmas meeting, where they told us all how our shop was forecast to take upward of $60K a day. I've had a couple of days since then to reflect on how I feel, and I've come up with undervalued and pissed. So in short, it's become time to fall back on your wealth of CV and interview advice, Allison. Thanks to your website, I've never felt better placed to job search. There's a vindictive part of me that really hopes I find something new before Christmas. I know everybody feels like their workplace would collapse if they left, but realistically, our store is already a bit like a Jenga tower on its last legs. If I take off during the peak season, it'll fall apart like a wet cake. As a last note, this aggressively festive season, please be tender and mild to your retail workers. Especially if you happen to be in very large bookshop in artsy English city, and you notice the conspicuous absence of a certain shaggy-haired, no makeup, baggy clothes-wearing team leader. Update to Deck 15, 2022, 3 days after first update. I wanted to add a postscript. I got another job. After I wrote to you with my update, I decided I was just furious enough to quit without another job offer in my pocket. To the abject horror of my parents, I did just that. I was, of course, very nervous about going voluntarily unemployed at the beginning of a recession, but I'm so pleased to report that, thanks in no small part to your job application advice, I've been offered another job. It's fewer hours, more money, more benefits, and to the relief of my formerly horrified parents, much more prestige. The offer came through on the penultimate day of my notice period, which was very sweet indeed. During that whole notice month, my boss noticeably ignored me, which was an improvement. On my last day, he then handed me a card with a poem inside it and said, "I kid you not, don't tell your hubby." I gave what I hope was a bollock shriveling laugh and said of course I would tell my husband, we share everything. Boss then squeezed my shoulder and said, "I'll miss you," in an embarrassingly heartfelt voice. Yikes. I did, of course, show my husband the card. I then took great pleasure. Drop your verdict in the comments. Wait, what?